Hello and welcome to Decision 2024, the chaotic politics dream scenario. Unlike the 2022 dream scenario, this is a bit more realistic with my preferred candidates with a realistic winner. If you want my old version of the dream scenario, just tell me and I'll do it in like a month or so. So let's get into it. It is now 7 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Indiana, Jim Justice is the projected winner. He will go on to win the state of Indiana by 20 points, a big victory for Jim Justice as he does well with white working class voters. Out of the state of Kentucky, this is Democrat nominee Andy Beshear's home state. Jim Justice is the projected winner as he goes on to win the state by 20 points, a massive underperformance of Donald Trump's 2020 numbers. Out of South Carolina, Jim Justice will be the projected winner, winning South Carolina by around 10 points. South Carolina has always been a somewhat Republican state, always being won by above 10 but under 15. However, it looks like it could eventually become a battleground state in the near future. Out of Vermont, Andy Beshear will be the projected winner. No surprise here, goes on to win the state by 35 points. Out of Virginia, Andy Beshear will be the projected winner, going on to win this state by around 13, continuing Virginia's leftward shift. Out of Georgia, it is currently too close to call. Andy Beshear currently leading Jim Justice by around 24 percentage points. And here is the electoral map on your screen now. Jim Justice leads 28 electoral votes to Andy Beshear's 16. Out of Indiana Senate race, Jim Banks will be elected to his first term in the United States Senate, succeeding the retiring Mike Braun, who, with Jim Banks defeating Jim Donnelly by 15 points, with Jim Donnelly outperforming Andy Beshear. Out of Vermont Senate race, Howard Dean will be the projected winner. Bernie Sanders retired, and now Howard Dean, the former governor of Vermont, will take his spot as Dean will go on to defeat former Governor Jim Douglas by around 30 points, Douglas outperforming Jim Justice. Out of Virginia Senate race, Jim will be re-elected to another term in the United States Senate. He retired many years ago and is now coming back for another term in the Senate, defeating Nick Freitas by around 13 percentage points. And here is the current Senate composition. Democrats at 28 seats to the Republicans 38. Out of the governor's race in Indiana, Greg Ballard, the former mayor of Indianapolis, will be elected to his first term as governor, defeating Jennifer McCormick by around 20 points. A big victory for Greg Ballard here tonight. Out of Vermont's governor race, Senator Bernie Sanders will be elected to his first term as governor, which is a gain for Democrat-aligned independents or independents in general, or it just could be a gain for Democrats because he's aligning with Democrats. You choose, as Bernie Sanders will go on to defeat Phil Scott by around 30 points. It was a very interesting race, however, Bernie Sanders will go on to win by a big margin nonetheless. And here's the current governor's composition. Democrats, being led by Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs, have 22 seats, and the Republican governors, led by Alabama Governor Kay Ivey, at 19 seats. It is now 7:30 p.m., and the following states have poll closings. Out of Ohio, Jim Justice will go on to win this formerly battleground state at poll closings. Ohio will go to Jim Justice by around 10 points. And out of West Virginia, this is his home state. He will be the projected winner here, going on to win here by 45 points. Out of North Carolina, it is currently too close to call. That should say 39% at Jim Justice, as Andy Beshear is currently leading by 20 points in the state of North Carolina. Out of Georgia, it is still too close to call, as Beshear's lead drops to about 4 points. And here's the current electoral map on your screen now. Jim Justice still leads 49 electoral votes to Andy Beshear's 16. Out of West Virginia Senate race, Evan Jenkins will go on to win his first term in the United States Senate, defeating Joe Manchin by a large margin, winning by 40 points over the incumbent senator, a massive defeat for the incumbent senator Joe Manchin. Out of Ohio Senate race is currently too close to call. Sherrod Brown has a 4-point lead over Warren Davidson right now. Sherrod Brown is in the fight of his political life right now. And here's the current Senate composition. Democrats at 28 seats, the Republicans at 39. Out of West Virginia's governor race, Mac Warner will go on to win his first term as governor, succeeding Jim Justice, as a matter of fact, as he will go on to defeat Steve Williams by around 40 points. Both Warner and Jenkins underperforming Jim Justice here tonight. Out of North Carolina's governor race, it is currently too close to call. Attorney General Josh Stein is currently leading Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson by around 20 points. And at the governor's composition, it is not changed. It is now 8 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Alabama, Jim Justice will be the projected winner. He will go on to win this state by around 20 points. Their congressional map just got struck down recently, so it'll be interesting to see a new Democrat elected out of Alabama's congressional seats. Out of Mississippi, Jim Justice is the projected winner, going on to win here by around 15 points. Out of Missouri, Jim Justice is the projected winner, winning this state by around 13. Out of Oklahoma, Jim Justice, the projected winner, who will go on to win here by 35. Out of Tennessee, Jim Justice will be the projected winner, going on to win here by 20. Out of Connecticut, Andy Beshear will go on to be the projected winner here, going on to win here by around 15. Out of Delaware, Andy Beshear, the projected winner, going on to win here by around 15. Beshear will also go on to easily win Washington, D.C., no surprise here. He will also go on to win former President Barack Obama's home state of Illinois. He will go on to win here by around 15 as well. Out of Maine's 1st Congressional District, Andy Beshear is the projected winner. Out of Maryland, Andy Beshear will also win here, but not as much as Joe Biden did, only winning it by 30 instead of 34. Out of Massachusetts, the same thing here. Andy Beshear will go on to win by a slightly lesser margin. Biden ended up winning the state by 34, but Beshear will end up winning it by 33. Out of New Jersey, Andy Beshear will be the projected winner, going on to win here by around 15 points. Out of Rhode Island, Andy Beshear will also win here, winning here by around 20 points. And out of Florida, it is currently too close to call. Andy Beshear currently has a 10-point lead over Jim Justice. Out of Maine at large, it is too close to call. Beshear has a 32-point lead over Jim Justice. Maine's 2nd Congressional District, too close to call. Beshear currently has a 2-point lead over Jim Justice. Out of New Hampshire, too close to call. Andy Beshear has a 32-point lead. Out of Pennsylvania, it is currently too close to call. Andy Beshear currently has a 22-point lead over his opponent. And we can now make a call out of the state of Georgia, as Andy Beshear will go on to win this state and its 16 electoral votes, as Beshear will narrowly defeat Jim Justice by 1 point, narrowly outperforming Joe Biden's 2020 numbers. And out of North Carolina, it is still too close to call, as Beshear's leads dropped to about 13 points. And here's the current electoral vote count on your screen now, as Andy Beshear now leads Jim Justice 104 electoral votes to 92. Out of Connecticut Senate race, William Tong will be elected to his first term in the United States Senate, defeating Gretchen Carlson by 10 points. Out of Delaware Senate race, Jack Markle will be elected to his first term to the U.S. Senate, defeating Ken Simpler by 15. Out of Maine Senate race, Angus King will be re-elected to another term in the United States Senate, winning by a large margin over Jared Golden and Paula Page. Out of Maryland Senate race, John Delaney will be elected to his first term in the United States Senate, defeating Kathy Cecilia by 25. Out of Massachusetts Senate race, Joe Kennedy III will be elected to his first term to the United States Senate, defeating Charlie Baker by 33. Out of New Jersey Senate race, Andy Kim will be elected to his first term to the United States Senate, defeating Andrew Sedamon Aristoff by 15. Out of Rhode Island Senate race, the third Lord and Savior of this channel, Sheldon Whitehouse, will be elected to another term to the United States Senate, defeating Scott Avedisian by 15. And out of the Mississippi Senate race, Bill Waller Jr. will be elected to his first term to the United States Senate, defeating Brandon Presley by 10 points, very narrow for a Senate race in Mississippi. Out of Tennessee Senate race, Marshall Blackburn will be re-elected to another term to the Senate, defeating Phil Bredesen in a 2018 rematch, winning by 15 points this time instead of 11. Out of Florida Senate race, is currently too close to call, as Stephanie Murphy has a 10-point lead over Governor Ron DeSantis. Out of Missouri Senate race, it's currently too close to call. A shocker here, as many thought this would go to double digits to Hawley, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Jason Kander currently has a 4-point lead over Josh Hawley as of right now. Out of Pennsylvania Senate race, another 2018 rematch is currently too close to call, as Bob Casey Jr. has a 32-point lead over Lou Barletta. Out of Ohio Senate race, Warren Davidson has flipped the seat from Democrat to Republican, as he will be elected to his first term in the United States Senate. Again, for Republicans, he goes on to win this seat by 5 points over incumbent Sherrod Brown. And here's the current Senate composition on your screen now. Democrats have 35 seats, with the Republicans 42. Out of Delaware's governor race, Matthew Dent will be elected to his first term as governor, defeating Michael Ramone by around 15 points. Out of Missouri's governor race, too close to call, Chris Koster has a 4-point lead over Jay Ashcroft, another race in Missouri that was supposed to be, a double-digit victory for Republicans. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Out of New Hampshire's governor race, too close to call, Joyce Craig currently has a 32-point lead over Kelly Ayotte. Out of North Carolina's governor race, currently too close to call, Josh Stein now leads about 13 points over Mark Robinson. And here's the current governor's composition on your screen now. Democrats at 23 seats, so the Republicans 20. It is now 8:30 p.m. We now have poll closings out of the state of Arkansas. And we can easily project that Jim Justice will be the projected winner out of Arkansas. No surprise here, as Justice will go on to win by around 25 points. Out of Florida, we can now project that Jim Justice will go on to win the state of Florida, outperforming Donald Trump's numbers, winning by around 5 points. Out of Maine, Andy Beshear will go on to win here, winning here by around 5 points in Maine. Maine's 2nd Congressional District will go to Jim Justice. He wins here by 9. Out of New Hampshire, Andy Beshear will be the projected winner, going on to win here by around 5 points. Out of Pennsylvania, it is still too close to call. Beshear leads by around 18. Out of North Carolina, it is currently too close to call. Andy Beshear leads by around 12 now. And here's the current congressional map on your screen. Jim Justice retakes the lead at 129 electoral votes, so Andy Beshear's 110. Out of Florida Senate race, we can now project that Ron DeSantis will be the projected winner here, as this is his most competitive race since, actually scratch that, there was 2018. Never mind. DeSantis will go on to win this Senate race by around 5 points. Out of Missouri Senate race, Josh Hawley will be re-elected to another term. A lot more narrow than he wanted, but oh well. Hawley will go on to defeat Jason Kander by 8 points. And out of Pennsylvania Senate race, Bob Casey Jr. will be re-elected to another term to the United States Senate, defeating Lou Barletta by a much narrower margin than his 2018 victory, this time by around 5 points. And here's the current Senate composition on your screen now. Democrats at 36 seats, to the Republicans 44. Out of Missouri's governor race, Jay Ashcroft will be the projected winner out of Missouri's governor race, continuing the Ashcroft dynasty in Missouri, as he goes on to defeat Chris Koster by 8 points, similar to Josh Hawley's margin of victory. Out of New Hampshire's governor race, Democrats finally make some forms of gains this election cycle as Joyce Craig flips New Hampshire's governor race from Democrat to Republican. As Joyce Craig will be elected to her first term as governor, she defeats Kelly Ayotte by around 5 percentage points. Out of North Carolina's governor race, it is currently too close to call still. Josh Stein leans by around 12 points right now. The governor composition is on your screen now as Katie Hobbs leads, or scratch that, as the Democrats lead 24 seats to 21. It is now 9 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Colorado, we can project that Andy Beshear will go on to win the state by around 15 points. Out of Nebraska's 2nd district, a district that is typically very swingy. However, Andy Beshear is expected to win here by double digits this time around. Big win for Democrats across the board. Out of New Mexico, Andy Beshear is a projected winner, winning the state by double digits at the end of the day. And out of New York, Andy Beshear will go on to win this solidly Democrat state, winning here by around 20 points. Out of Kansas, Jim Justice is the projected winner, winning this solidly Republican state by around 13 points. Out of Louisiana, Jim Justice will also win here, winning here by around 15 points. Out of Nebraska, Jim Justice will be the projected winner, even going on to win Nebraska's 3rd district. However, we'll talk about the 1st here in a second, as Justice will win Nebraska at large by around 15 points. Out of North Dakota, Jim Justice will be the projected winner, winning here by around 35 points. Out of South Dakota, Jim Justice is the projected winner, winning by 30 points. Out of Wyoming, Jim Justice is the projected winner, winning by 45 points, a big victory for Jim Justice. Out of Arizona, it is currently too close to call. Andy Beshear leads by around 24 points. Michigan, too close to call. Beshear leads by around 24. Out of Minnesota, it is currently too close to call. Andy Beshear leads by around 32. Out of Nebraska's 1st district, typically a safe Republican district, however, it is slowly and silently been trending to the left, and Nebraska's 1st is currently too close to call, as Beshear has a lead of about 6 points over Jim Justice. Out of Texas, too close to call, Andy Beshear has a 13-point lead, scratch that, a 14-point lead over Jim Justice. Out of Wisconsin, it is currently too close to call, Andy Beshear has a 20-point lead over Jim Justice. Out of Pennsylvania, it is still too close to call, Beshear's lead drops to about 14 points. Out of North Carolina, too close to call, Beshear's lead drops to about 10. And here's the current electoral map on your screen now. It is very close. Jim Justice leads 155 electoral votes to Andy Beshear's 154. Out of Minnesota Senate race, Amy Klobuchar will be elected to another term to the United States Senate at poll closings, defeating Royce White by around 10 percentage points. Big victory for Amy Klobuchar once again. Out of New Mexico Senate race, Martin Heinrich will be elected to another term to the Senate, defeating Aubrey Dunn Jr. by 10. Out of New York Senate race, Thomas Uzi will be elected to his first term in the United States Senate, outperforming Andy Beshear's numbers, defeating, that names are all fucked up, but Thomas Uzi will end up defeating Chris Gibson by around 25 percentage points, even winning Long Island in the process. Out of Nebraska Senate race, John Brunning will be elected to his first term to the Senate, defeating Bob Kerrey, the former U.S. Senator, by 10. Out of Nebraska Senate race, Brett Lindstrom will be elected to his first term to the Senate, winning by around 15 over former Omaha Mayor Chris Butler. Out of North Dakota Senate race, Kevin Cramer will be re-elected to another term to the United States Senate, defeating former Senator Kent Conrad by 30. Out of Wyoming Senate race, Eric Prince will be elected to his first term to the Senate, defeating Gary Trauner by 40. Out of Arizona Senate race, it's currently too close to call. A major three-way race between Tom O'Halloran, Juan Ciscomani, and Kirsten Sinema. O'Halloran currently leads by 2 over Ciscomani and Sinema. Out of Michigan Senate race, too close to call. Elise Slotkin has a lead of about 24 over James Craig. Out of Texas Senate race, too close to call. Former HUD Secretary Julian Castro has about a 4-point lead over former Dallas Mayor Tom Leppert. Out of Wisconsin Senate race, too close to call. Former Milwaukee Mayor and Luxembourg Ambassador to the Biden administration Tom Barrett currently has a 10-point lead over Congressman Mike Gallagher. And here's the current Senate composition on your screen now. Democrats have 39 seats, so the Republicans 48. Out of North Dakota's governor race, Rick Becker, a very libertarian-heavy Republican, has been elected to his first term as governor, defeating Josh Wabashi, a state senator, by 35 points. And out of North Carolina's governor race, it is still too close to call as Stein's lead drops to about 8 points over Mark Robinson. And here's the governor's composition on your screen now. Democrats at 24 seats to the Republicans 22. It is now 10 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Iowa, Jim Justice will end up winning this state at poll closings, winning it by around 10 points. Out of Montana, Jim Justice is the projected winner, winning by around 15 points. Out of Utah, Jim Justice is the projected winner, winning here by around 20 points. And out of Nevada, it is currently too close to call. Andy Beshear leads by around 24 points. Out of Minnesota, we can now project that Andy Beshear is the projected winner, winning this state by around 5 percentage points. Out of Nebraska's first district, we can now project that Jim Justice will be the projected winner, winning this district by around 7 points. Out of Arizona, it is currently too close to call. Andy Beshear leads by around 4 points. Out of Michigan, still too close to call. Andy Beshear leads by 4. Out of Texas, still too close to call. Beshear leads by 2. Out of Wisconsin, too close to call. Beshear leads by 19. Out of Pennsylvania, still too close to call. Beshear leads by 7. Out of North Carolina, it is still too close to call as Beshear now leads by 8. And here's the current congressional map, or not congressional map, but the electoral map on your screen now, as Jim Justice leads 172 electoral votes to Andy Beshear's 164. Out of Montana Senate race, we can now project that Greg Gianforte will be elected to his first term in the United States Senate, a flip for Republicans, as he goes on to defeat incumbent Senator John Tester by 15 points, as Gianforte is a lot more popular than Tester is. Out of Utah Senate race, Trent Staggs will be elected to his first term in the United States Senate, defeating Ben McAdams by around 15 points. Out of Nevada Senate race, currently too close to call. Stephen Klubeck has a 24-point lead over Congressman Mark Amadei. Out of Texas Senate race, we can now project that Tom Leppert will be elected to his first term to the United States Senate, defeating Julian Castro by 8 percentage points, the former Dallas mayor winning big in the state of Texas compared to Jim Justice. And we can now project that the majority will go to the Republicans. The Senate majority will go back to the Republicans the first time they've had it since before 2020. And out of Wisconsin Senate race, just adding to that majority, Mike Gallagher will be elected to his first term to the Senate, flipping the Senate seat from blue to red. Gallagher will end up defeating Tom Barrett by around 5 percentage points. And out of Arizona Senate race, it is still too close to call. Tom O'Halloran now in a statistical tie with Juan Ciscomani. And out of Michigan Senate race, still too close to call. Slotkin leads Craig by around 4 points. And here's the current Senate composition on your screen now. Democrats at 39 seats to the Republicans 52. Out of Montana's governor race, Tim Fox will be elected to his first term as governor as he goes on to defeat Whitney Williams, the daughter of former Congressman Pat Williams, by around 10 points. Out of Utah's governor race, as some people call him the most powerful Utah Republican you've never heard, Robert O'Brien is now being heard as he has been elected as the governor of Utah, going on to defeat former Utah Democrat Party chairman Peter Caroon by 20 points. Out of North Carolina's governor race, it is still too close to call. Josh Stein now leads by around 8 points. And here's the current governor's composition. Democrats at 24 seats, as well as the Republicans are also at 24 seats as well. We could end up having a tied governor's association. It is now 11 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of California, Andy Beshear will be the projected winner here, winning by around 27 points. Out of Hawaii, Andy Beshear is the projected winner, winning by around 25 points. Oregon, Andy Beshear is the projected winner, winning by 15. Out of Washington, Andy Beshear is the projected winner, winning by around 15. Out of Idaho, Jim Justice is the projected winner as he goes on to win here by around 35. We can now make a call out of the state of Arizona as Andy Beshear will go on to surprisingly win here much sooner than many people thought, winning Arizona by 1%. Out of Michigan, Andy Beshear will also win this state by around 1%. A big victory for Democrats. It was very close, too close for comfort, you might say. Out of Texas, Jim Justice will finally be the projected winner here as he goes on to win Texas by around 3. A very narrow election in the state of Texas. And out of Nevada, it is currently too close to call as Andy Beshear goes on to win here by around, or scratch that, as he goes on to lead by around 4 right now. Out of Wisconsin, currently too close to call. Andy Beshear leads by around 14. Pennsylvania, still too close to call. Andy Beshear leads by 5. North Carolina, still too close to call. Beshear leads by 3. And here's the current electoral map on your screen now. Andy Beshear only needs to win one more state. It could literally be any of the states colored in gray or yellow on the map here. If Beshear wins one of them, he's the victor. If Justice wins every single one of them, he wins the election. Out of California Senate race, Ro Khanna will be elected to his first term to the United States Senate, going on to defeat Lonnie Chen by around 22 points. Out of Hawaii Senate race, Ed Case will be elected to his first term to the Senate, defeating Charles DeShow by 25. Out of Washington Senate race, Jay Inslee will be elected to his first term to the Senate, defeating Bill Bryant by 15. Out of Michigan Senate race, we can now project that Elisa Slotkin will be elected to her first term to the Senate, defeating James Craig by 1%, running even with Andy Beshear. Out of Nevada Senate race, still too close to call. Stephen Klubeck has a 4-point lead over Mark Almaday. Out of Arizona Senate race, is currently too close to call still, as Tom O'Halloran and Juan Ciscomani still see themselves in a virtual tie. And here's the current Senate composition. Democrats at 45 seats to the Republicans 53. And out of Washington's governor race, Hillary Franz will go on to be elected to her first term as governor, defeating Dave Reichert by 15. Out of North Carolina's governor race, still too close to call. Josh Stein currently leads by 3. And here's the current governor's composition. Democrats only need one more seat to have an outright majority and win the governor's mansions. The Governors Association have a majority for the first time since, I believe, 2008 was the last time they had a majority. It's been quite a long time, but they just need to win North Carolina and they're set. It is now 1 a.m. and the following states have poll closings, that being Alaska and, well, it's too close to call. Andy Beshear currently has a lead of 4 points over this state, the state of Alaska, which is typically a safe Republican state. Well, you could say goodbye to those days. It's officially moved into the likely Republican state. Out of Nevada, we can project that Andy Beshear will go on to win this state, which you know what that means. He goes on to win Nevada by 1, and that also means he's been elected the 47th president of the United States. Andy Beshear goes on to defeat our Lord and Savior, Jim Justice. It's blasphemy, I tell you. It's all rigged. Blasphemy. I'm sorry, that got away from me there. But Andy Beshear has been elected the 47th president. And here is this map on your screen now, as Beshear goes on to defeat Jim Justice 274 to whatever. Beshear could end up winning Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and hell, he might even end up winning Alaska at this point. We don't know yet. We'll just have to wait and find out. Out of Wisconsin, still too close to call. Beshear has a 2-point lead over Jim Justice. Out of Pennsylvania, too close to call. Beshear has a 2-point lead. Out of North Carolina, it is still too close to call. Beshear and Justice are in a statistical tie. And here is the map on your screen now. It hasn't really changed. Out of Nevada Senate race, we can now project that Stephen Klubeck will be elected to his first term to the United States Senate, defeating Mark Almaday by 1, running even with Andy Beshear. And out of Arizona Senate race, it is still too close to call. O'Halloran and Ciscomani still find themselves in a statistical tie. And here's the Senate composition on your screen now. Republicans have already won the majority, however, Democrats are at 46 seats, Republicans are at 53. There's only one seat left, that being Arizona. Out of North Carolina's governor race, it is currently too close to call a virtual tie between the two candidates. And here is the governor's composition on your screen now. There has been no change. It is now 1:15 a.m. We can now make a call out of the state of Alaska. Jim Justice will go on to win this formerly safe Republican state as he goes on to win here by around 8 percentage points. I would say a big win, but however, it's more of a moral victory for Andy Beshear as he got the state of Alaska close while barely campaigning there. It is now 1:30 a.m. We can now make a call out of state of Wisconsin. Now, this is a big win for Jim Justice and the Republicans, as they have finally taken Wisconsin back into their column, as Jim Justice will go on to beat Andy Beshear by around 0.7% in the state of Wisconsin. A tilt margin for the third cycle in a row. I know, shocking. But Jim Justice will win this state nonetheless. It is now 1:45 a.m. We can now project that Andy Beshear will be the projected winner of the state of Pennsylvania, just barely holding on to the state, winning it by 0.8%, winning it by more than Justice's victory in Wisconsin, but he barely held on to Wisconsin, so Beshear's barely hanging on to Pennsylvania. It is now 2 a.m. We can now make a call out of the state of North Carolina, as Jim Justice will win the state of North Carolina, a state that's always been purple and swingy. You don't really know which way it's going to go, but Jim Justice has solidified North Carolina into his column here tonight as he goes on to win here by around 0.7%. A big victory for Democrats, or Republicans, excuse me. More of a moral victory, like, yeah, we kept North Carolina again. Fuck y'all. But bigger news out of North Carolina's governor race, a flip for Republicans as Mark Robinson flips the governor's mansion from blue to red, defeating Josh Stein by a similar margin. A win for Republicans in North Carolina. Hopefully, as Mark Robinson has a Republican House and a Republican Senate in North Carolina, we'll just have to see what kind of damage he can do, if any. It is now 2:15 a.m. We can now make a call out of Arizona's Senate race as Tom O'Halloran has ended up winning his first term to the United States Senate, defeating Juan Ciscomani and Kirsten Sinema. Here's the map on your screen, and it's a bit strange looking, don't it? Oh well, I'm sure it won't cause any sort of uprising in the comments, but O'Halloran will end up winning by around 0.3%, a big victory for the Democrats as they kick out Sinema and bring in someone just as moderate. And here is the popular vote margins. As you can see, it's just been called. Andy Beshear ends up winning the popular vote by 3 points over Jim Justice, doing 1% worse than Joe Biden did, as he won by 4. But Beshear will end up winning the popular vote and the presidency and the Electoral College. Here is the final electoral map. Andy Beshear wins a 293 electoral vote to Jim Justice's 245. Maura Healey will end up becoming the first lesbian vice president under Andy Beshear. And here is the final Senate composition. Republicans win the Senate 53 seats to the Democrats 47. And the governor's composition is tied as both the Democrats and the Republicans are at 25 seats. And we can now make a call that the Democrats will end up winning the majority in the House of Representatives, which is a big win for them. Andy Beshear is once again looking at a divided government, as the Democrats will end up having a very narrow House majority, 222 seats under Hakeem Jeffries, and the Republicans under Jim Jordan have 213 seats. Very, very narrow House majority. Are we going to have another fucking divided speaker election for the third time in a row? Seriously? Jesus Christ. But anyway, here is the House map on your screen now. Hopefully we don't have another divided speaker election, because only 5 Democrats need to vote against Jeffries. It's not going to happen, right? Right? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, if you want me to go back and do a 2024 dream scenario with my preferred candidates as well as my preferred winner, even if it's unrealistic, I will do that. However, it will just be Senate and governor races. So let me know what you want down in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Khaotic one saying peace.